Hello, friends. Today's going to be kind of a different video. I'm going to show a little bit about these different slides that I found yesterday while I was researching. Remembering I'm not a nutritionist or a doctor. This is just my research that I found, and I'm compiling it for those of you who want to know. This first slide is fascinating to me. It says on the left, the oxidation rate, and the bottom is the days of fasting. That 0 days of fasting is the one that's most interesting to me. So if you go across the bottom, -5 to 0. -5 to 0 is when you've eaten. So you ate at that first line and your sugars go up, your carbs go up, your fats and ketones are chilling, your proteins are chilling out. But when you hit that 0, that's when you've burned up all of your carbs, all of your sugars in your system. That's that 6-hour point that I talked about in yesterday's video. And at that 6-hour point, your body says, I used up all those easy sugars. Now what do you want me to do? So it flips over into that fat burning and ketones with the yellow coming up. As you see the red drop down, the yellow comes up. Well, and we have a little spike there in the protein, but that's really nothing to worry about. If you see that, it's not that your body has less protein, it's that your body is using less proteins, because your body sees that, oh, shoot, if I keep using proteins at this rate, I'm going to starve to death. And I have all this fat, and it's way easier to use fat to turn into ketones than it is to turn proteins into ketone. So your carbs, carbohydrate, which is the red one, which is your glucagon, your glucose, all of those oses, dips out in your blood, and it gets down really low. So it wouldn't surprise me, it might surprise my doctors, it wouldn't surprise me if when I go in for my blood work, if I go in during a fasted state, if I make it to my 40 days and beyond, it wouldn't surprise me if my blood sugars were ridiculously low. And it also showed that I had really high cholesterol, because that's what fat and ketones is going to look like in my blood. So that's what this first slide shows. But you can see that even the fat and ketones starts to dip down, and that's just burning up the fat that you have. And as you run out of fat and you deplete your fat, it's obviously going to use less and less and less. And eventually, if you run out completely, that's when you become starving yourself. And that's when your body will actually turn and start eating the muscles. It's not going to go after your lungs and your heart right away. It's going to go after those big muscles, and then it's going to shrink you down until it's ready to, you feed it. You need to feed your body at that point in time. So I hope that one shows a little bit of information. I like that picture quite a bit. This picture shows the fasting timeline. So just like we just talked about, 4 to 6 hours, your blood sugar is going to drop. About 10 to 12 hours from your last meal, your liver glycogen is going to get used up. So people who have fatty livers and sugar in their livers, it's going to start using up. Now, in the past, I have had issues when I get onto my later days fasting, 10, 12, 14 days fasting, I'll start feeling my gallbladder. I know I have issues with it, so I know that it's coming now, and I know I'm not having a gallbladder attack. It's just my body's cleaning things out, and I might pass a stone or something. Okay, 12 to 14 hours, you rise in ketones. That's where your body says, okay, there's no more sugar. I got to find it somewhere else, so I'm going to make ketones out of the fat. Brain works really, really good on ketones. I'm functioning on ketones right now, and I'm calm, and I had a really irrational moment where I should have panicked, and I wasn't. I stayed calm, and I could process it completely. At 18 to 20, fat oxidation increases. So you start using the fat, starts busting up those fats, starts breaking them down for water, starts pulling the nutrients out of your fat cells, and starting to use those and eat them up. 22 to 24, the liver glycogen is depleted. That means there's no more sweet little sugars in there for you to eat up. It's really good for your liver to have a break from all of that processing. It's good for your gallbladder to have a break from all of that. It's good to let everything rest once in a while. Around hour 24, the glucogenesis progresses. That means it's burning any kind of glucose it can find anywhere in your body and getting rid of it. And your blood sugars will continue to drop. 24 to 36, the growth hormone spikes. That human growth hormone is an amazing thing. It comes into play right here because, well, back in the way back, we had to hunt and gather for our food. And if we were hungry, we had to have energy to go chase those animals down and hunt and find the berries and do whatever and run from the bear. So we had to have the energy. I find that I feel like I want to go run a mile. And I am overweight and lazy, and I never want to run a mile. But the human growth hormone gives me that boost of energy to wake up in the morning and be ready for my day. Now, by the end of the day, I'm exhausted, but that morning I wake up and I'm ready. Every morning at the beginning of a water fasting day, I'm ready to go. The human growth hormone, it hits its spike right here at that 24-36 hour, and it does start to dip down. But what that also does is it helps maintain the muscles that you have, so you are not losing and burning muscles. You're repairing and building, which leads into the autophagy at the 36 and 48 hour. Autophagy is really a cool thing. I've seen it work. I've felt it work. It's, oh my goodness, it's amazing. So autophagy goes in and finds those broken cells, those precancerous cells, or the scar tissue, or places that are hurt, or wounds, old wounds that you've had. If you had surgery on your shoulder or your back, you're gonna feel it again. It's going to hurt like you just had it. Your body is going in there and picking off those old dead cells, or the old cells that aren't quite shaped right, and it's pulling them out and burning them up, throwing them in the fire, using them for energy, and then it will replace what it needs to replace with the human growth hormone. And the autophagy is eating up the old dead ones. So I had surgery on my foot. That was the last time I had anything done. And when I fasted the first time after that, that was the first thing that hurt, and it hurt pretty bad. But the scar tissue is now all gone from my foot, and I don't even have a scar down there. And that was less than a year ago, a little over a year ago now. But when I had that pain, it was less than a year ago, and my foot's completely healed. Autophagy is amazing. Autophagy is going to help repair your skin. That's what's going to help prevent the saggy skin when you fast. And that's why it's so important to do the fast and mix in a dry fast here and there, because that helps you burn up those dead cells. Because if your skin is sagging, your body doesn't want saggy, baggy skin all over it, because that inhibits the hunting and gathering speed. And your human growth hormone is going to go, hey, wait a minute, I fixed that. So the autophagy burns it up, and the human growth hormone fixes it. So that's where your skin will shrink. And believe it or not, when you have saggy, baggy skin, it's usually held there by fat. So that roll that just won't go away, if you can pinch it and it's more than like paper thin, it's still got fat in there. And your body will move that fat around as to where it wants it. Okay, moving right along. Day 4 or 48 hours, 72 hours, ketosis rises exponentially. You've burned up all those sugars now, and there's no more sugars to burn, and you are in ketosis. If you peed on a stick with a keto stick, it should be substantially noticeable. Now, sometimes with me, because I am pre-diabetic and I have issues with that, I can't get the ketones to show in my urine, but they definitely show in my finger when I do the blood tests. I will test on that in the morning and let you know how that goes. Okay. Day 3, glucogenesis peaks, so we're doing good there. We are processing ketones and using them and making our brains work the best we can. 3 to 5, ketones rise multifold, means everything's there, we're good. You're running on ketones, you're full of energy, you've got a fat supply, and that is your food source, and you just don't really need anything. Day 3 to 5 is also where your blood sugar gets the lowest. So that's where it can dip down into the 40s and 50s. And some people were like, oh my gosh, that's so scary, you're gonna die. You're not living on sugar right now though, honey. You're living on fat cells, which is ketones. So your body is okay. It's amazing. After day 5, your growth hormone flattens out a little bit. It's maintaining. So if it needs to, it'll go up, but if it doesn't, it's gonna stay down there and just kind of maintain and watch and see what you're doing. And then at day 7, your metabolic acidosis. I'm not sure what that actually means. I might have to Google that one. But basically by day 7, your body's functioning great and everything is just chilling. And you're at a state of, I can do this indefinitely. And that's what it feels like. This slide's basically the same thing, just in a different format. So it kind of shows it not quite as detailed, and it's only the first 72 hours. Now, on this note, I want to show you something. I want you to look at this chart, and I want to explain something. A water fasting, this is based on a water fasting day. Now, if you dry fast, that means no water, no food, nothing goes in your mouth during a 24-hour period, which is what I did today. You get the benefits of a 3-day fast in 24 hours. So everything that's on this page right here, I basically accomplished in one day. So I skipped day 2 and I skipped day 3, and I'm at day 4 now because I did a dry fast today. So I don't have to, my body has rapidly sped up to, now I'm doing the HCG and the ketones, or not the HCG, HCH, the human growth hormone, and my ketones are working together fluidly to accomplish what needs to be accomplished. I feel pretty stinking good. I have my little flubs, but I do that anyways. Tomorrow I will probably introduce water back in a little bit, but I feel great today. My stomach has emptied. When I lay down, I'm like, wow, my tummy's really flat. I've lost more weight today. I can't wait to weigh in on the scale. So it's kind of surreal feeling, because you just have this feeling of contentment. And not that I can take on the world, but I kind of feel like I could take on the world right now. I'm not reliant on anything. My body is maintaining within itself. I had to walk back and forth and get some stuff done tonight, and I was fine. I had the energy to do what I needed to do and to accomplish. I helped and worked and cleaned house today, and I was just busy. And some people are like, oh my gosh, I couldn't go a day without water. You know, you can practice that just like fasting. You have to build up to it. Water fasting is a great way to start that, and then you just kind of just start cutting your water back a little bit, and it adds up pretty quickly. And again, like when I start fasting, if you do half of it through the night, then it's not such a big deal. This one is, again, kind of the same thing, but with a different spin on it. At the top, it says how long to fast for which purpose. So if you're trying to get your blood glucose and insulin down, that's that dark blue line. And you would need to fast a total of 4 days to get it to its lowest. If you're wanting your autophagy and your HGH to be up, that's the day 3 point. That's the red one. The weight loss and ketones is your yellow. If you look at it, it's pretty low on day 1, and it just starts climbing from there. It does top out. I'm not sure. I think it was day 5 or day 7 where it tops out, and it just kind of levels off and does its thing. Intestinal stem cells. That's fascinating. That's your intestines healing themselves. So it's climbing and climbing and climbing, and about day 4, it kind of chills out. The immune reboot and musculoskeleton stem cells, that's the purple one. That's when your autophagy is working really, really good, and you start repairing those broken pieces of your body that the cells are old and dead and damaged, and you need to replace them and get new ones. Again, this chart is an estimation on average of when various benefits of fasting kick in. Every individual is different. Not medical advice, does not replace the care of your physician. These are just approximate results and simulations of the sources that we've been able to find. I pulled these off the internet. Anybody can find these, anybody can see these. They're a great resource, but again, it's there for everybody. I like charts, I like pictures because I can remember these things. But it's amazing to look at, like, the glucose where it goes up and down and up and down and up and down and down, and then it stays down, where the autophagy and HGH goes up and then tanks, and everything else kind of levels off. Our bodies are amazing. They really are. So day 1 is probably the hardest, because that's the hardest your body is working to transition over to burning ketones and the human growth hormone.